Welcome to another episode of This Is Anything Goes, and today we will be working on the Ford Ecosport again. What we'll be doing is we'll be changing the engine mounting. So we have the three pieces of engine mounting over here. This is for the bottom, this is for the gearbox side, and this is for the engine side. So engine side will be over here, which should be the easiest to change. The gearbox side, which is underneath here, which would be a bit more technical because it's quite hidden, and the bottom side is what I'll be changing first, which is over here. The easiest, or at least it seems like it's the easiest. Okay, so the tools that we need is just the basic wrenches, jack, the parts. Alright, so let's get to it. Okay, so for the bottom, which is easy, these are size 13mm. There's two over here, so we'll remove that, but first we'll need to support the engine so that it doesn't fall down. Okay, so what I've done is I'm supporting the engine on this side, the gearbox side, because this is closer to the gearbox. Okay, I've loosened the bolts already before I support it. So once it's supported, what I'll do is I'll remove the bolt and I'll remove the mount. Okay, so let's compare the old and the new. Alright, so the new one, this is tight, there's no gaps over here, whereas the new one, you can see that there's gaps between the rubber and the metal here. It's has a little bit of play, whereas here, wow, I can actually move it with my hand. Okay, so well, I will say that this mount is still in good condition. It's just a little bit worn. This is better. Okay, but this is the original Fomoko from the factory itself. This is OEM from Thailand, if I'm not mistaken, it's from Thailand. So we'll install this back same way, 2 bolts through, tighten it to 110 Newton meters. Okay, so I'll do that off camera, 110 Newton meters. Okay, instead of taking the easy one, I'm going to try the more technical one, which is the gearbox side, because I already have it supported anyway. So to remove this portion, we're going to do it part by part. The first part is to remove this box over here. I think this is where all the fuses are. I'm not too sure, I suppose it is. So to remove this, there's actually three bolts. But for mine it's only 2 because I've changed to an aftermarket battery, which this mount is no longer needed. But if yours is still using the original battery, which I doubt since it's been so many years, you will need to remove this as well. So it's 1, 2, and one more over here. That one. Okay, this one over here. So once you have removed this, you will notice there's a lock over here. What you need to do is you need to slide this forward and pull it out and put it to the side. Okay, so the next thing we'll be doing is removing the batteries. So we'll remove this terminal over here using this, and this. So these are probably size 10mm or 9mm. So once we have this 1, 2, 3, and 4 over here removed, we'll remove the battery and then we'll see how to take out this mount. Okay, sorry for the background noise. My neighbor is doing renovation and it seems to be non-stop. So once you have removed the battery, there's 1, 2, 3 10mm over here. So we'll remove that and see if we can remove this. So as you can see, I put back the nuts here so I don't lose it. Same goes with this side and this side. And now seems like we need to remove this bracket as well. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 10 mm as well. Okay, so this tree is 10 mm, this is probably 8 mm. Okay, let's remove that. Okay, now that we've gotten the battery tray away, what we need to do is we need to remove these two bolts and this one and one more over here. So these two are size 15 mm, a weird size 15 mm, and these two are also weird size 21 mm. Okay, so we'll remove that. Make sure your engine is supported. On the gearbox side, it's still the same spot. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so once we have those two out and these two out, we should be able to just remove it like this. Okay, so let's make a comparison with a new one. Okay, as you can see, this one can move. This is solid, so this is better. Okay, looks like the same part. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so one thing to note, while I do encourage hand tools, but I think the person that reconned my gearbox earlier tightened it with the air gun, so I had to use an air gun to remove the two bolts over here, this and this, and let me tell you, it was bloody hard. Okay, so yep, I'm gonna put in the new one, which is as simple as just putting it back in. Use this hand. Okay, then I'll go down and jack it up so that this goes through, and then we'll tighten everything up. Alright. Okay, now that we have gotten it hand tightened, so the torque spec for this that I'll be using is 140 for these two, and then 110 for these two. Okay, now that we have torqued this, what we'll do is we'll put back the plates and everything, which I'll do later after I've given them a nice clean wipe. Now let's move on to that side. Okay, so removing this side seems quite straightforward. So we'll need to press this and then remove this pipe, and then unclamp this and then remove this pipe, move this out of the way by just pulling it up, because it's only held on by a clip here and a clip here, or more like a slot. Then we can remove this and then we'll have full access to the mount. So let's get that done. As with everything DIY, things tend to get fucked up towards the end. I broke a screw, a bolt, and I'm trying to extract it. Wish me luck. Okay, it's coming out, so let's hope I can capture that. Yes. Yes, managed to get it out. Now, where am I gonna find a replacement for this? Okay, so let's do a comparison between the old and the new. Obviously, this is dirty, this is clean, this is original Ford, this one is original Ford, this isn't. Okay, but the part number is the same. Okay, so what I do notice is that this is on the softer side. You can actually press it, but I got only one hand, whereas this is much tighter, so this should absorb more vibration than this compared to this. Okay, physically wise, you don't see it damaged, but in terms of the rubber, yeah, you probably can see it moving here with just my fingers. So imagine the engine vibrations, whereas this one, can't even move it. This one is, yeah, so this is busted. Actually among all three, I think this is the worst worse off. Okay, so installing it will be just putting it on top and then putting it back. Okay, just like that. Just putting it back, align everything. Okay, then push it down. Then this is where I'm jacking the engine from, at the oil pan, which is why I use a thicker piece of wood. I'll be jacking it up, and then you see all this liquid is actually the coolant because it was leaking from here. Okay, so I will put back a couple of the bolts, and then I have to go out and buy a new bolt. Okay, and as you can see, I've removed the headlamp just for easier access, and you've probably seen in my previous videos there's only one T30 here, one T30 here, and then you just yank it out and then you disconnect the power. Okay, so everything has been hand tightened. So the torque spec that I will be applying on this is 90 Newton meter and 60 Newton meter on this. So as you can see, this bolt is different from the rest because the previous one broke, and I can't find the exact same replacement. So what I did was I actually bought these stainless steel ones and put 4 washers on it, like this, with the bigger one on the bottom. Okay, so should work. I'll be talking it to the same specs, which is 60, 90, 60. Okay, so once that is done, I'll just put back everything as is, the way I took it out, and yeah, I cable tie this because it was leaking down. Okay, so yeah, let's go on to the summary. Okay, so that's the end of it. Pretty fun DIY, not too technical. Mainly removing bolts, putting bolts, jacking up the engine, jacking up the gearbox. Just gotta be creative, alright? It's quite simple, but the main thing you need to probably know is that you should not take more than 1 mount out at a time. Always change 1 mount by 1 mount. So you change the bottom, the gearbox, and the engine side one by one. Never take two mounts out at the same time, okay? Because once you take 1 mount out, okay, your engine is supported by 2, but if you take 2 out, it's only supported by 1, which is not sufficient. That's it, your engine is dropping. Okay, don't say I didn't warn you. I already warned you. Don't do it. If you still do it, I'm not responsible. Anyway, it's a DIY. I'm not responsible for whatever you do anyway. Okay, just be smart. If you are confident, do it. If you are not, get somebody else to do it for you. Alright, especially the bottom one, which is a bit more dangerous. Since you're crawling under a very heavy engine, you might there's basically a risk of it falling on you. So safety first. Alright, okay, so let's talk a bit about why I changed the engine mount, or what are the symptoms that the engine mount is failing me. One, when the car is idling, I sense a vibration coming from the engine. So when I press on the accelerator, the vibration goes, but once I let it idle, it comes back. Second, when it's accelerating under load, meaning like going uphill and we are under gear, or should I say over gear, in the wrong gear, okay, you can feel vibration coming from the engine. And then those are the 2 main things. The one that's not so subtle is that when it's changing gears, the time it is a bit rough. So I've taken the car for a test drive, accelerating smooth, changing gears smooth. Okay, before this, when it changed the gears, I guess the mount wasn't tight, so when it changed gears, the gearbox moved as well, so it felt rough. But now, no such thing, is smooth. Okay, this is different from the usual Ford's vibrating issue. Alright, so yeah. Okay, so let's talk a bit about cost. In terms of cost, these are not original Ford mounts. If it's the original Ford mounts is probably about 1000 plus, but these are the OEM from Thailand, which somebody told me it is just as good or maybe just slightly worse, okay, but it only costs about 560 ringgit. Okay, so it's like half the price or maybe 2.5 times cheaper than the originals, so I'm taking a bet on that. Now you are probably wondering, how long have I had the car and what is the mileage? So I've had the car for about 9 years, since 2015 when my wife got it new, and it has already gone about 180,000 kilometers. Okay, I would say it lasted pretty long. Okay, it lasted pretty long, or my wife is so insensitive to the vibration that she didn't actually realize it. But you know what, 9 years, 180,000 kilometers, yeah, I think it's time for the mount to be replaced. The old mounts, as you saw earlier during the comparison, some of them are actually still in decent shape, not to say perfect, decent shape actually, especially the one on the bottom and the gearbox side, decent shape, not perfect. Okay, but you know what, I think I'm gonna take that back, because after I changed the gearbox side mount, the gears are actually shifting much better. So okay, I'm rambling already, so yeah, that's the end of this DIY. That's the end of this video. If you have not done so, make sure you hit the like and you hit the subscribe button, and most importantly, hit the bell button so you get notified on our next uploads. Till then, I will see you again.